Can fried chicken make you bad at Call of Duty? Can it make you good? It's a weird question either way, but we'll find out today on Call of Duty League R&D. Gone are the days where being a Call of Duty pro meant all scrims all the time. With the help of medical professionals across the globe, esports orgs are unlocking player potential with training outside of the game. And guess what? There's actual science to back it up. And you can't argue with science. But we're gonna give it a go.
Performance is everything outside of how quickly they click buttons that makes them succeed. What are all of the other factors involved in esports that allow you to hoist trophies?
I feel like over the past 3 years of the CDL, practice has evolved a lot. Before, I didn't really look too much into my diet, exercise, how much I was playing, my sleep.
I think we're seeing a generation of teams and support staff and even up-and-coming players who are recognizing that health and performance involve both long-term and short-term goals.
At the start of Cold War, we brought in a performance coach. He gave us a bunch of exercises, a bunch of things that could help us outside of the game when it came to breathing, when it came to stress, overthinking, like mental stuff.
I was pretty low mentally, and the psychologist that 1HP had on retainer really helped me get out of that rut. Having to work through the mental processes in order to get better and understand that it wasn't as bad as the doomsday mindset that I had. I had a lot of help navigating those waters, which I wouldn't have had otherwise.
How much time are you actually investing in your mental health, these techniques to better your mental versus your mechanics?
It's just as much physical as it is mental, and there's such a strong connection between the mind and the body, you cannot separate them out like that. Taking care of your body in all of the ways that you can physically is a critical part of performance.
There's so much left to be done to improve the actual training quality inside and outside of the game. Understanding skill acquisition and the principles of learning and how they can improve more quickly by having specific styles and structures around practice. And then outside the game, it's physical health, nutrition, sleep, exercise. That allows them to at least show up at these training sessions at 100%.
I lost, 50 pounds back in 2015, so I can speak on personal note. Back then, I remember just being sluggish and a little unmotivated to do things, and after losing that weight and really focusing on fitness, it definitely sharpened my motivation and my mind and my mental health to just feel better on the daily.
For all you 5 a.m. subs out there, your sleep, or lack thereof, may be impacting you more than you think.
One of the areas that I think is kind of lowest hanging fruit in esports that is ripe for addressing and that will result in really big changes when you address it properly is sleep.
Players are kind of obtaining insufficient sleep, so somewhere between kind of 6.5 to 7.2 hours per night, which is less than the 7 to 9 recommended for adults and definitely less than the 8 to 10 recommended for teens.
A few years ago, I'd be waking up about 11, 12-ish, and I wouldn't be getting out of bed until just before scrims start. And even then, it would take me a while to get into the scrim.
Looking at the impact of scrim schedules on sleep is actually a really pertinent point. We found that scrim schedules really appear to kind of like displace or push the sleep schedules of players later.
We know that during the deepest phase of sleep, human growth hormone is released. Human growth hormone is key in recovery from injuries and also in terms of cognitive function. We know that more sleep results in less cortisol, cortisol being the stress hormone, and your ability to clear cortisol rapidly affects your ability to feel anxiety.
A recent actually review by a friend of mine, Tim Smithies, probably provides the best evidence of this effect. What he found was that more simple kind of rudimentary cognitive tasks were quite sleep sensitive. Interestingly, complex tasks were less impacted unless there was a requirement for cognitive flexibility.
You want to do? Oh my God!
Esports requires quite complex kind of mental and cognitive processes, but it also requires you to kind of shift quite quickly and effectively between different information that's kind of coming in and then therefore performing different roles.
It's what everyone struggles with the most: diet and nutrition. It's hard to know where to go with food and why it's important. It turns out it extends far past health and into performance.
when your brain is built out of salmon fillets and nuts and seeds and all this other kind of stuff, you see that quite literally the hardware of your brain is much more efficient at processing and more resilient to injury, better recovery capacity, all sorts of metrics get improved.
Obviously, you have your macronutrients, your proteins, your carbs, all of these different things that kind of go into fueling your workout and helping you build muscle after you're done working out. But also your micronutrients are really important for a lot of the brain neurotransmitters that we're talking about that help stabilize mood and help improve your executive functions.
There was a really cool research study that came out where they showed that a single fat bomb of a meal, so like fried chicken kind of thing, it acutely occluded blood flow to the brain to the tune of 15 to 20%. You were measurably dumber after this meal for about 6 hours. That's really bad. So I like to say, okay, before scrims, you don't want to have your big old breakfast burrito. You don't get better from the strength workout you did. You don't get better from the scrim that you did in esports. You're actually getting better in the night and the hours and the days after that particular cognitive challenge or physical challenge. And so when you eat bad food, now you're not providing your body with the fuel and the resources and all of that it actually needs in order to consolidate all of this information into making it into muscle memory, into making sure that learning actually happen. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Having things like sleep specialists or nutritionists or anything like that, well, it used to be a foreign concept because I think gaming is starting to blossom now. Obviously, it's been around for years and years, but I think it's starting to be a lot more mainstream than it used to be years ago. So I think with more eyes and more money being pumped into the scene, naturally, you're going to have a higher level of competition.
Good diet, exercise, sunlight, good sleep. When you make an effort to be better in those categories, I think undoubtedly helps you be a better player, be a happier person.
I think we're on the cusp of an evolution. We're going to see the effective mindset shifts. You're going to see effective training techniques. You're going to see recovery. You're going to see the investment in mental and physical. And I think we're going to see some crazy stuff.
The training of esports pros has grown into a full-blown industry, with continued research happening all the time. Sleep, diet, and exercise. It seems like we're making a public service announcement. This is not a public service announcement, but if you do want to find that flow state or climb a ranked ladder, then give it a shot. Your body and your teammates will thank you.